Nick Itkin. I'm an Olympic foil fencer, and this is the American Athlete. I felt like I was like a professional athlete that I would watch when I was a little kid. Normally, fencing tournaments is a lot more quieter, a lot more reserved, but those are the atmosphere that I live for. So I started fencing when I was 7 years old. My father's actually a former fencer and a fencing coach now. Family's from Ukraine, so he was a fencer back then. Now he moved to the US and started coaching, and I started when I was a little kid, spending all the time in my dad's gym, and just grew up at a really young age loving the sport. When I was younger, I think I took the sport for granted, really. I didn't necessarily do it out of love. I just did it because that was my plan. I would go to school, then I go to fencing. When I was around 14, 15, 16, that's when I actually started to really love the sport. There's individual tournaments and team tournaments. So in the Olympics, for example, there'll be 3 fencers for the country if your country qualifies, fencing the individual event, and then 4 for the team event. And an individual event, the match goes to 15 points. And then team tournament, they goes to 45 points, and you each fence 3 bouts. I actually do men's foil, so that's when the target area is the chest and the back, and there's right of way. So if there's 2 lights, the referee makes a decision on who started their action first or who hit the blade last. Then they will give the point. The big misconception about fencing is that you get hurt a lot from the weapon or anything, but there's a tip in the end, so there's not any serious injuries. But yeah, ankles and hamstrings are very common injuries. I tore my hamstring about half a year ago, but I recovered quickly and perfect timing just to get ready for World Championships. The recovery actually went really well. It was one of my first real injuries, so it was different for me, but I think it actually made me stronger. I just took some time away from the sport and focused on building my leg muscles, and I think I came back stronger. I went to the University of Notre Dame, amazing fencing program. I fell in love with the school immediately. The fencing coaches I had a great relationship with. In the beginning, it took some time to just transition to a new school of fencing a little bit, but I actually fit in really, really well. The coaching and the sparring partners were perfect for me to grow. At first, it was difficult to adjust, and then it actually pushed my fencing to the next level. A lot of fencers, when they go to university, if they're not on that senior team, then they kind of take fencing recreationally because it's time to get a job, it's time to make money. And fencing, if you're not on the top 4, it's not a money-making sport. So that's the biggest aspect, and my mindset was I have to be a professional fencer. I don't see myself doing anything else, really. I was all in or nothing. In 2020, when I won the Paris World Cup, that was really unexpected. No one expected me to do that. No one expected me to make the Olympic team. So that was during Olympic qualification season. So after winning that tournament, all of a sudden my name was in contention and people looked out for me. And now all of a sudden everyone's analyzing my fencing, realizing what I do. And I went from having no expectation to being really free to having a good amount of expectation. So I actually had a lot of adjustment to make because the next few tournaments were really rough. And then in preparation for the Olympic Games, I had to kind of send myself back to ground zero, and then I had to take my fencing to the next level. Every single fencer fences differently, but I like being aggressive. When I was a kid, I told you I was the opposite, and I just tried to take that and was I'm gonna be exactly the opposite. I'm gonna be aggressive. I want to go out there and win every single point. I want to yell, I want to scream, I want to make noise. I love when people watch me. I want the whole crowd getting into it. My dream is that the fencing becomes much more popular sport, and we get a big stadium, we get all the fans. So I want to be aggressive, I want to make noise, and want to go out there and get the job done.